Welcome to Lesson 12.5, the one that ties government intervention to international trade. We'll open our economy to the world, see how imports arise, and then watch what a tariff does to prices, production, and trade. Until now, every market we drew was closed, sealed off from the rest of the world. Now we let a country trade, buying and selling goods across its borders, and we focus on a country that imports. We'll assume the economy is small. Small here means tiny relative to the world market. Its purchases and sales are too small to budge world prices, no matter how much it trades. That has a powerful consequence. The small economy is a price taker. It simply takes the world price as given. And at that world price, it can buy any quantity it likes from the rest of the world. Now, for a good that a country imports, the world price is below the price that good would have at home with no trade at all. That price gap is exactly why importing is worthwhile in the first place. But the world price is quoted in a foreign currency, so we need to convert it. The domestic price equals the world price times the exchange rate. That conversion turns a dollar price into a shekel price. Let's see the conversion. The world price might be $100. Multiply by the exchange rate, say 3.6 shekels per dollar, and the price at home is 360 shekels. Let's draw it. We have the usual domestic demand and domestic supply curves, crossing at the no-trade equilibrium, which sits high up. Below it, we draw the world price as a horizontal line, because the country can buy unlimited quantity at that price. Now read off domestic production. At the low world price, home producers are willing to make only a small quantity. Call it QS, found where the domestic supply curve meets the world price line. Next, domestic consumption. At that same low world price, consumers want a large quantity, QD, found where the domestic demand curve meets the world price line. Cheap goods are popular, so domestic consumption exceeds domestic production. The gap between the large QD and the small QS is filled from abroad. That gap, on the graph, is the quantity of imports. In short, imports equal QD minus QS. Whatever domestic producers don't supply at the world price, the rest of the world supplies through imports. The country leans on the world market to make up the difference. Why import at all? Because the world price is cheaper than producing the whole quantity at home. Consumers enjoy a lower price than they would in a closed economy, and they buy more as a result. So free trade gives us four things: a low price, the world price, high consumption, low domestic production, and the gap between them filled by imports. Consumers love it. Some domestic producers, who'd like a higher price, do not. Now the government steps in and imposes a tariff. A tariff is a customs tax, a fixed amount charged on each unit that's imported. Its intervention aims squarely at trade. What does a tariff do? It makes imports more expensive. The price an importer must charge rises by exactly the amount of the tariff, because that tax has to be paid on every unit brought in. So the new domestic price is the world price plus the tariff. On the graph, the whole horizontal price line shifts up from the world price to the world price plus the tariff. Everything is now dearer at home. Here's the tariff on the graph. The faded line is the old world price. The solid line above it is the world price plus the tariff. The red segment between them is the tariff itself, the amount by which the home price has risen. Watch domestic production respond. At the new, higher price, home producers are willing to make more. They move up their supply curve from point A to point B. The tariff protects them and they expand output. And watch consumption respond. At the higher price, consumers cut back. They move along their demand curve from point C to point D, buying a smaller quantity than under free trade. The dearer good is less attractive. Put those together and imports shrink. Domestic production has risen and consumption has fallen, so the gap between them, the import quantity, gets narrower. The new, smaller imports sit between QS prime and QD prime, well inside the old import gap. So here are the tariffs for effects. The domestic price goes up. Domestic production goes up. Consumption goes down. And imports go down. A tariff partly closes the economy back toward its no-trade state. What about the government? It collects the tariff on every unit that's still imported. So its revenue is the tariff times the new import quantity, the tariff times QD prime minus QS prime. On the graph, That revenue is a rectangle. Its height is the tariff, and its width is the new, smaller quantity of imports. The area is the customs revenue the government takes in. Let's put numbers on it. The world price is $100, the exchange rate 3.6, so the domestic price is 360 shekels. Add a tariff of 40 shekels, and the new domestic price is 400 shekels. Now here's a lovely insight. A tariff raises the domestic price. But two other events do exactly the same thing: a rise in the world price and a devaluation of the exchange rate. Why are they equivalent? Because all three raise the domestic price of the imported good in the same way. And since the domestic price is what drives everything, the results are identical: more home production, less consumption, fewer imports. Take devaluation specifically. If the exchange rate rises, meaning more shekels per dollar, then the same world price now costs more shekels at home. Imports get dearer automatically, with exactly the same effect as a tariff. So who gains and who loses from a tariff? Domestic producers gain, because the price is higher and they sell more. Consumers lose, paying a higher price and consuming less. And the government gains the tariff revenue. Why do governments use tariffs, then? Two main reasons: to protect local industry from cheap foreign competition, and to raise revenue for the treasury. Both motives are very common in practice. But protection has a cost. Consumers pay more and buy less, and the country gives up some of the gains from cheap trade. The higher price helps producers at the expense of everyone who buys the good. And see how this connects to the rest of Chapter 12. A tariff is just government intervention again. It works much like a tax, but it's aimed at imports, pushing the domestic price up toward the no-trade level. Let's state the mechanism in brief. A small economy takes the world price as given. Under free trade, imports equal QD minus QS. A tariff raises the price, so domestic production rises and imports fall. And the government's revenue is the tariff times imports. Let's summarize. The domestic price equals the world price times the exchange rate. Under free trade, the import gap is QD minus QS. A tariff raises the price, giving more home output and fewer imports. And a tariff has the same effect as a higher world price or a devaluation of the currency. The one line to remember: a small economy imports the gap between demand and supply, and a tariff shrinks that gap by raising the home price. With that, Chapter 12 is fully complete. Price ceilings, price floors, taxes, subsidies, and now the tariff on a small open economy. 5 tools of government intervention, all built from the same demand and supply. And the master method is always the same. Find the price that the policy sets, then read off domestic production, domestic consumption, and the gap between them. Every policy yields to those 3 steps. Well done. You can now analyze closed markets, open economies trading with the world, and every major government policy, all with a single, unified toolkit of demand and supply. And with that, our microeconomics course is complete. From scarcity and production all the way to international trade policy, it's been a genuine pleasure building these foundations with you, lesson by lesson. If this course helped you, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share it with someone who's studying economics. And to keep getting extra materials, join our members club, where you'll find the full quiz library, fully worked solutions, and more practice questions. Thank you for taking the course, and I'll see you next time.